Hi, I'm Dave. This is Dave Splains, and it's been so long since I've done that introduction that I feel so weird doing it. So, today we're going to talk about business philosophy, and it's the cost of shutting yourself down. And I'm probably going to have a better title. That's how it always happens. When I'm under the gun, I can't think straight for a title, but later on I'll be like, so my point on this is this. Okay, so I have all of these great ideas for businesses, and some of them I try, some of them don't even get out past the gate because I overanalyze and I overthink about it, and I think, who on earth is going to ever, help me out or hire me? Who's going to do that? And can I do it for a good amount of money? Like, I mean, how much is too much to charge? So like, I mean, I when I did SEO stuff, I had a client who did they had been in business for a few years. This is the business that he had been doing um, pretty much all of his adult life, and he made the year before I came on to the job, he made about $20,000 revenue. And then the year after I came in and did some work, I was a hired contractor. That means I did what needed to get done, I charged him for it, and I was not a full time employee. So I got everything done beginning of the year, and at the end of the year, he had $120,000 revenue. And he's been going up and up and up and up and up since then. Last I've heard, he has a partnership in a cidery. He has a couple other partnerships in some things. His life is actually doing pretty good. I will not say that I'm still the SEO person for that company. I folded my company in hopes to get a job, which did not pan out well because here I am unemployed making YouTube videos still. Because again, who would ever hire me to do these things? I think I offered to do all of the work for $20 an hour. I made personally less than $1,000 off of the job, and he made, or sorry, his increase in revenue was over $100,000 just by spending less than $1,000. When I told a recruiter this, because she asked, what was your previous pay? And I said, I was charging people $20 an hour. She laughed at me. Now, if I had multiplied my amount and I had charged $100 an hour, that's times five, I would have made less than $5,000, and my client still would have made over $100,000 increase in revenue. Was it still worth his time? Yes. That's why you should charge what you're worth. Now, I wanted the guaranteed paycheck, but the guaranteed paycheck doesn't always come out, and that's neither here nor there. The point of this is that a lot of times these ideas get stuck in my head, and before I even start working on them, it's no one would ever pay me for that. So I recently had a realization, and I want to share it with you. Um, I cook my dog's food. Okay. Um, there's a lot of reasons with it, but because of the fact that uh, I'm eating a lot of that same food anyway, um, I can just cook something for him that's beneficial for him as a dog with his needs, while I'm cooking my own meals. So if I want to, have like a dish with some rice in it, I can make some rice and put it aside for him. And then I started doing prepared meals where I would cook for a few days or maybe even the week and have some things already ready to go so that I could just make my dog's food really super easy. So, with that being said, it does not make sense to me how on earth fresh dog food companies work. Now, for years, we've heard the Farmer's Dog and Fresh Pet. These are the most advertised, I would say, companies. So I took their actual information from their websites and put it into this nice little tool over here with a spreadsheet tool. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I will come over here and do this nice little screenshot here where I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you see my little tool that I've got here. Now, my whole thing on this is this. I make my dog's food. I know that it doesn't take that long. And later on in this video, I'm going to include a video of me cooking a meal that is appropriate for my dog. And I should add a video at the very end so you can see my dog is not starving. My dog is very happy. But I don't understand how you can have a fresh, and I say fresh because Farmer's Dog is mailed to you and you don't know what's actually in it. You don't know how long it's been sitting on a shelf. And Fresh Pet, you pick up at the grocery store. Fresh Pet, you don't know how long that's been sitting in transit or on a shelf before it even got into transit. You don't know. So it's fresh, but I guarantee you it also still has preservatives in it because it's got to last at least a couple weeks. And then there's also the shipping costs, the plastic involved in packaging, all of this other stuff. So many things. There are so many reasons why these companies should not exist. They should not work at all. I'm not going to say don't use it because some people are just that busy. But now, I'm going to go into this really quick. My dog is supposed to eat. My dog is a Labrador. My dog is supposed to eat 1 to 1.5 pounds of food per day, which I'm just now realizing that's actually significantly less than I thought. Okay, and this is not the Kennel Club. This is like, these are food companies that are all agreeing with the Kennel Club saying this is how much food you should eat for the dog. 1 to 1.5 pounds. Okay, so that is 16 ounces to 24 ounces. Pardon me. Get a little tea here. So, that being said, Fresh Pet at a grocery store is $25 for 5.5 pounds. That's $24.99. And that first box, and that is supposed to be, okay, according to that amount, it's $4.54 per pound. Now, the Farmer's Dog shipped directly costs $47.11. The first box is supposed to be for 7 days of meals. And then, therefore, the cost should be $6.73 per pound. I want to talk about that price really quick, though, because that price, $47.11, that is the first sale week. After that, it doubles because they cut it in half for an introductory offer. So that means that after that first introductory meal, it goes to what is that, 94.22, meaning that per pound, the farmer's dog then goes to 13.46 per pound, which is ridiculous. So that's $4.50 a pound versus $6.37 per pound. Woof. Now, the other problem with this is that this, with the farmer's dog, that's not per pound. They don't have a per pound. This is based on whether or not it's actually the amount that my dog is supposed to be eating, which is 1 to 1.5. The problem with that is that neither one of these are a full meal because they don't include a grain. So you still have to make the rice or give them some other kind of grain, Cheerios, for example. I don't know. So I want you to keep all of that in mind, that all of these prices are actual prices from my local grocery store here in Wisconsin. And these are all prices that I have from local grocery stores or from the Farmer's Dog website. Because local grocery stores will have fresh pet. You're supposed to buy it with your, what have you. Oh my gosh, I forgot that in the main section of this, I also have the time taken to get your farmer's dog or fresh pet. I forgot that I actually put in a calculator for the expenditure of time to get this dog food because it's fair. It's fair. If you want to save time, if you're buying Fresh Pet or the Farmer's Dog or any of these other companies in order to save time or effort or so that you can think of something else while still enjoying, your dog, that's what you're going to do. That's fine. I'm not saying don't do this. I'm saying understand what your options are. And in an effort to do that and be completely transparent, I'm going to include the amount of time that it takes to cook. I also have the cost of cooking, which actually breaks down the average wattage for a small burner or a large burner, the amounts, the estimated kilowatts used, and again, from my local area, the cost per kilowatt hour electricity for an electric stove. For gas, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't even think about that. I am so sorry. I would much rather do gas very often, but I have an electric stove. So, the cost of cooking it at home, and this is, by the way, in our video, this is based on 20 or 15 minutes of cooking at 1,000 watts, or not 25, sorry, 15 minutes, it's 0.25 of an hour. So that is 15 minutes. And in our video, we get the water boiling at 1,000 watts in 5 minutes. And then it goes down to its lowest setting so that, and gets covered for another 10 minutes. So realistically, this number for the rice on the small burner is actually probably about a little more than twice as expensive as it should be. And on the large burner, this is what your meat would be. So you're basically figuring maybe 20 minutes for cooking total, depending on what it is, which, by the way, again, as an overestimation. Realistically, your meat should be able to be cooked in 10 minutes, but if you want to preheat the pan, season it, what have you, then yeah, it might take 20 minutes and therefore is going to cost 8 cents per cooking. But again, these are also split between 2 or 3, 4 days, 5 days a week because you can do all of this cooking in that amount of time. So that's 12, 13 cents that is divided by 7. So maybe 2 cents per meal. And then we also have the actual breakdown. Now, this is the actual breakdown from the Farmer's Dog website. This is right here, this highlighted section is the actual screenshot from the website where it says $13.46 per day to feed my dog. Remember that this does not include grain. It does not include it. So, which dogs still eat grain, maybe not the overprocessed stuff in dry dog food, but they still eat grain. 13.46 a day, not including, and it's not even the full meal. That's all I'm saying. But then we actually have the complete breakdown all the way out to a year, which I did not include in my screenshot. It's cut off right here, and the cost per month. I'm sorry. Here, I'll move it over really quick so you can see per month and per year. Is there any way that I can fit this a little bit? No, not really. But it does go into the main. So this is based on, so the rice and the pumpkin puree. If you have a larger dog, you know what pumpkin puree is for. Medium and large dogs use it for when they aren't feeling too good with the food that they're eating, which I could probably reduce now because my dog is doing very well. But he likes it. I even make pumpkin puree from our jack-o'-lanterns on Halloween. Uh, and I'll just cut it up and he'll eat the chunks. So my friend refers to Labradors as nature's little garbage compactors. So we'll go over to the main page, and I'll have to link this so that people can like play around and actually look at what's in here, and maybe if they have a thing where it protects the original data, but then you can like play around with it, or you can just actually take my work and chunk it into a um, spreadsheet of your own. So we have the farmer's dog breakdown of cost per day, week, month, year, percent of highest cost. So the turkey costs 46% of what the farmer's dog costs. Tuna costs 28.69% of what the farmer's dog costs. That's incredible. Percent saved, and then actual money that is saved. Almost $3,500 saved by using tuna. You don't even have to cook tuna. I use tuna because, and I mentioned this in the cooking video that's going to appear right after this, is that Labradors come from the St. John's water dog, which was used to go and take fish out of the fishing nets. And of course, what do you think that the fishermen fed them? What was on hand? So he can handle fish, and he does very well, by the way. He does not do good with chicken, which is why you will not see chicken in my spreadsheet. I know that's insensitive to people who have smaller dogs who do use chicken. Chicken, just so you know, will be somewhere between the cost of pork and tuna. It is a less expensive meat, less expensive protein. So you can kind of fool around with that the way you want to. But then obviously down here we have the breakdown of time that it takes. So you have home, the effort per year, you have the minutes per year, you have the cost savings, and it equates to 1 hour of pay. So you're basically, if you take the savings from your block and you put it into minutes per year, you get the amount of money per hour that you would pay yourself to do this. Now, obviously, the Fresh Pet gets it because you're just going to the grocery store. It takes an extra few minutes to walk down that aisle. So that's the dog food cost sheet. But again, you can save $35,000. Why does Fresh Pet and the Farmer's Dog exist? Now, before we go to the cooking video, I do want to mention, by the way, that when we answer all of these questions, and I had this big long script that I did not keep to at all, I will say this. Up at the top, we have, so this is chef and nutritionist prepared food, which, by the way, to be a dog nutritionist or chef, you really just have to go to like the American Kennel Club and look at what you can feed a dog and what a dog needs. Not even joking. But Fresh Pet made $766.9 million revenue 2023. That's because their 2024 numbers, it's January, so, still waiting on that. The Farmer's Dog made $800 million revenue. These are companies that should not exist because to do it yourself does not take a lot of extra time. You would save over $3,000 in most cases not using their services. And yet, together, those two companies alone, not the entire array of these companies, not the entire, what is it? Like Ollie is one, I think. I don't even know what what is this? Fresh dog food companies. My Ollie is one. Ollie, Nom Nom, Pet Plate, Spot and Tango, Just Food for Dogs, The Honest Kitchen. All of these, not all of these included, just Fresh Pet and the Farmer's Dog made $1.5 billion in 2023 alone. Revenue, not profit, revenue. I'm not going to say that it's profit. It might have been, I don't know. I wasn't paying enough attention. But these are their actual numbers. 1.5 billion. More than, by the way, more than 1.5 billion. Only two of those companies in 2023. Ridiculous. And yet they still exist. So whenever you think that your business idea is not going to work, try it. It might. Now, on to the actual cooking video. Okay, so welcome to me having a upper respiratory thing and my voice being a little bit off today. But we're going to talk about why Fresh Pet and the Farmer's Dog is just so dumb. First of all, they don't have a grain included, so we're going to start that right now. That's rear, we need front, and we need it on high. So I'm going to throw in the rice first. And then I'm going to throw in the water second. It's actually a bit of a thing because when you're cooking, you usually put in the hard stuff first and then add the liquid as needed. Now, since this is going, rice usually takes about 15 minutes to make. You bring it up to a boil and then you let it go for the next 7 to 15 minutes depending on a low heat. So this is on high. We're going to try to bring it up to a boil. To bring it up to a boil, you can actually add a little bit of salt to help things speed up a little there. So we have the carrot, holding the carrot with a bear paw so that my fingertips stay in. Now this is one way you can do it, circles, julienne, because it's off on an angle. Or I like to split it up into quarters and then real easy. For some reason, if you do it on a shorter amount, it happens a lot faster and a lot better. Because if you do a full carrot, you tend to get like a splintering effect where it just kind of shears off to one side and one side's bigger than the other. I don't know why. Maybe that's not for you. It doesn't happen to you. It happens to me every single time. And the reason why you're going to cut these down a little bit is because of the fact that you don't want them to become a problem while the dog is eating. Because, as you've seen before, my dog is a Labrador, and my dog eats very, very quickly. This is also going to help with digestion. Now, also, if I wanted to, I could throw all of this in with the rice at this time. But usually when you mix things up, I like to keep things a little bit more modular. And when you mix things up, you also introduce something from the carrot that might cause the rice to go bad faster. I'm just going to give this a quick rinse. All right, the other nice thing about dog food, making your own dog food, is you can see all the wrinkles on this. The dog doesn't care, and the apple is still good. Okay, we do want to make sure that seed pod was just a little bit further out than I expected. As you can see, the rice is already starting to go. We cannot include the seeds. Always have two bowls, by the way. One for scraps, one for the food. Now, the reason you cannot have seeds is because it's just not good for the dog's digestion. There are reasons for that. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to give anybody ideas. There we go. And you saw my really bad cooking right there, where I'm basically holding it with my two fingers, just waiting to lose another thumb tip. There we go. If you can see your thumb tips, so can the knife, and the knife will always go for them. So the other nice thing I love about cooking for the dog is the dog doesn't care about the stem pieces at all. You can give the dog these bottom pieces and the top pieces, cut off the, take the stem out or something, but the dog doesn't care, right? Nope, doesn't care at all. In fact, he's pretty happy he's getting a snack while his food is being made. Now, because we did 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water, this is going to make 3 cups of cooked rice. As you can see, we're already coming up to a boil. So we're going to switch that down. And we're going to go and find the lid that should have been up here in the first place and was not. All right. And we're already done with our fruit and vegetables. Now, doesn't this look just so much fresher than Fresh Pet? Now I've still got an apple. I can cut off some for myself and have a little bit of apple later, or else I can give it to him through the day with snacks or whatever. Realistically, I could probably cut up the whole thing and then just have this as a mix. Gosh, that seed pod is big. And again, just gonna cut these down. I actually like cooking. That's probably why I'm doing this a little bit more, but it's just because I've cooked for the Packers, the Brewers, the Admirals, the Bucks, the Army, the Marines, the Navy. Now, usually with tuna, ooh, we got some overboil there. One of these tricks that is supposed to work with this is taking a wooden implement, like a wooden spoon or something, and putting it on the pot. I'm not going to do that. But you can see all this. We talked about this with the rice glue. This is all starch. From starch. The bubbles are made from starch with water vapor inside. All right, going back. So usually for human consumption, we dump out the juice. This is chicken of the sea in water, not oil. I prefer water instead of oil for my consumption, for the dog's consumption. Let's see here if I can get a scraper from this apple. Now, I like to keep some of the water in there because it really just kind of helps to rehydrate the rice later on. And technically speaking, this rice, or this tuna, is done. It doesn't need to be cooked. It's over. So there we go. Now we have 2 meals of tuna. I usually like to cut that in half. Blue does not like to have that cut in half. And now we're really just waiting on the rice. Which, by the way, I want to point out that if you're ordering Fresh Pet, or you're ordering, or you're buying the farmer's dog, this is what you're getting right here on the cutting board. The fruit and vegetables and the meat. That's it. You're not getting a grain. So we're already done with what they give you. The only thing else I can say is that I thought I had some fresh green beans that were maybe a week old, and I guess we already ate them because we had Korean chicken the other time, and we threw in green beans with it for some color. So this is all we have today. And this is fine. This is what he likes. You don't believe me? Here. Does not stop him. He loves apples. So, with that being said, I think we have another 5 minutes on the rice. And now we're just kind of sitting around and talking. Okay, so The rice is finishing up. It's been another, I don't know, 5-10 minutes since I hit the button and saved you from having to watch everything. Since then, I've gotten a couple of things out like this pumpkin puree. Now, this is 100% puree pumpkin. This does not have the actual pie filling. It does have a picture of pumpkin pie on it, but it is not pumpkin pie filling because that has other ingredients that are not good for the dog. But you do want to get pumpkin puree because it does kind of help firm everything up when the dog is feeling a little bit sick. So there is that. Now this can is 29 ounces and it is actually relatively inexpensive. I think they're usually about $4 a can. So that's one additive. I do want to talk about the tuna. Now Blue is a Labrador, and he comes from a breed called water dogs. And they were actually out there in fishing nets trying to pull fish out of fishing nets. So that's why I have the tuna, because I know his digestion historically can handle fish. He does not do good with chicken. He does better with lamb. He does better with beef. He does okay with turkey. He does not do good with chicken at all. So I did not include chicken in my prices. I probably should have, because not everybody is just, against chicken with their dogs. Another nice little note is lemon juice. If you don't want your apples to start browning, and this is really good for kids' lunches, by the way, too, give a little sprinkle of lemon juice and mix it up, shake it up, however you want to do it. And that will help keep your vegetables and fruit from turning. Although it surprisingly does not help with guacamole. Okay, so I'm going to do this just for aesthetic purposes here. And I can still feed it to him a little bit. So that's a little bit more than a cup of rice. It's about a little bit of a cup, about a little less than a cup of fruits and vegetables. And about 2.5 ounces of high protein tuna. And if that does not look better than Fresh Pet to you, then I'm sorry, I don't know what else to do. But my dog sure likes it.